Hi, everyone. Welcome to White Noise. My name is Robyn, and I'm your host today. Oh, thanks. Well, on that note, there's no time to lose. It's a snowy Wednesday in Kingston. I don't even remember the last time we did an event on Wednesday. It's pretty unusual, but I like to keep things fluid around here. There's no set schedule. There's no set anything. We just let it come as it we let it come as it may. So I wanted to start off this reading, this event, with a very short poem it's wonderful because the person who I found out this poem from is here, and he's talking in the back right now. Philip sent out a newsletter today with some poets who are performing at the Woodstock Poetry Society next month or this month, this Saturday. And I was reading these poems, and I know Bruce very well, obviously, and the other poet, Tom Bonville. He's great. And you know what his name sounds like? No, it doesn't sound like a candy. It sounds like that Lord of the Rings character who is, the only guy who's immune from the powers of the ring, Tom Bombadil. And I just couldn't stop thinking about that as I was reading this guy's bio. I was like, is he that man, like, reincarnated? And I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then he attached like 2 short poems for part of his bio, I guess, or, however that works. And one of them, I was like, wow, this may be the best poem I've ever read in my life. And I'm going to read it. No, not really. No, you should tell him. You should tell him.
He's such a nice man.
You should tell him, because I'm going to read it right now, and you should show him this clip of me reading this. It's called Pleasure. Like good sex, poetry should not be explained, just enjoyed and done again and again. And you know what? I don't have any other words. I think no one's ever said it as simply and as beautifully. So thanks, Tom, wherever you are, whether you're in Middle Earth or in Woodstock, which is kind of the same thing when you think about it. And now, back to our regularly scheduled program. We have a feature tonight, which, obviously I'm so excited about, and I guess that's why most of you are here. And if you're not, well, get prepared, because that's why I'm here. I trekked through the snow. I literally hitchhiked here. Just for... No, I'm kidding. But I would have. I swear to God I would have. So our featured poet or writer or whatever she is named Eva Weber. And I'm going to read her bio right now. Eva Weber is a writer living in Hudson, New York. Originally from Pennsylvania, she studied philosophy at Bennington College and has worked in academia and the arts, most recently at the Fisher Center at Bard. She writes essays, fiction, and poetry grounded in research across disciplines. Her work is often experimental and explores history, time, technology, dreams, and spirituality shaped by esoteric study and yoga. She has written quietly for independent journals and galleries in Philadelphia, New York, and San Francisco. She is currently working on a long-form project about caves. Just wow. Me and Eva did a podcast a few nights ago that was just absolutely spectacular, and I highly recommend you go and watch that right now, like literally right now. If you're out in the audience, I'm so sorry, but if you're watching this virtually, pause and come back, because it's worth it. That's why I do that, so you guys can get to know a little bit more about these writers and artists before you hear their amazing and jaw-dropping work. So, on that note, welcome Eva to the stage.
I'm excited to be here. Robyn and I had a really wonderful conversation the other night on Monday that it was really fun to do, and it also just got me thinking a lot about all the different things that I've written and been interested in. And my hope, as I said, was I'd like to eventually read some of my cave story, which is the story that I'm working on right now. That's kind of a longer form project, but I don't think that it's time to go in the cave yet. So I'm gonna read actually an older piece that I wrote, I think I was like in my early 20s, but it's about when I was 19, and I just took an excerpt from it and edited it a little bit. So it's a story, and then if time allows, I have a short snippet of a more recent work, and I think they work really well as a duo. So, this is a story from 2015. That's when it takes place. I hardly remember how I got here. I know I was on the train for 4 days, but I can't remember. It was so flat. It was snowing the night I left New York. Bright white sheets of snow. Then the train ride. Then here, the mountains, New Mexico. There are no taxi services, so I walk from the train station. It's a long road, unpaved, red dirt. My skin cooks inside my black clothing. I'm surrounded by mountains on all sides. Not Vermont mountains, but looming monsters that block out the sun and bleed into the white sky and dominate the buildings. I pass a gas station, a grocery store, a general store, a barber. 4 Mexican restaurants with rusty pickup trucks parked outside. Then there's one last swinging stoplight, and the road trails up into the sky. The casita is down a smaller dirt path beyond a brass gate. It's 1 story, hunched low to the ground, and thick walls with wooden posts jutting out at the top to form a roof over the porch. When I go inside, it smells like stale air. The owner, Nick, tells me the casita isn't usually occupied, although it does have a pull-out sofa. He seems excited. The casita and its sister buildings where Nick lives and works are a few minutes' walk from the town that's barely a town. I wonder if he sees anyone throughout the day. I wonder if I will. The casita has 3 rooms. To the left is a dinky kitchen, a tiny roundabout of white metal and ceramic, all rust-crusted and unclean. There are pots and pans under the sink and a piece of plywood nailed into the cement wall, lined with dusty, overturned wine glasses. On the other side of the casita, another small room has a sofa, a writing desk, and a chair. On the first night, I stay up late. I lay out the few sets of clothes I brought on the tops of the shelves and pull out the sofa. In the dark, I sit at the desk with my legs up on the chair, 1 circle of wood illuminated by a small lamp. I write for a few hours. I spend my first night alone in months. I'm in the den with Nick. He's in his 40s, but he looks 20. He's short, nervous, and soft-spoken, and always asks me questions while I work, organizing bookshelves and going through storerooms full of old paintings and rugs. Is the music all right? Would you like some tea? Are you getting tired? Are you getting hungry? Tonight he proposes whiskey afterward, Helene's fancy whiskey from the old cabinet. Is this good, he asks. He's poured me almost a full glass, out of an aptitude rather than malintent. The altitude is intense, and it's dangerous to drink a lot quickly. Thank you. I sip gently and put it down. You know the story of this house, he asks. It's the big house that no one lives in anymore. It's a 30s museum. It was Helene's, he says. She used to have big parties here for all her artist friends, and they'd play music and have readings. She traveled all over the country to get artists and writers to move to Taos. That's why there are so many galleries and museums here. As you can see, the house is filled with all of the beautiful things that she collected. Helene's den is gorgeous, a massive cove with adobe walls and a log ceiling. There's a grand piano, a Wurlitzer, tall and shiny. The sofas and chairs, dark leather, are draped in woven blankets. I can imagine the party she had in here, the sofas sagging with people. He's pointing to a landscape painting, the same view I can see out of the wide window. 2 mountains tower in the distance, silhouetted against the pale sunset, too massive to seem far away. The trees are full with blossoms and blowing, while the mountains are dusted in gray-white. I wonder if Helene painted it. No, she wasn't an artist, Nick says. She just loved to be a benefactor and a hostess and socialize with creative people. She felt stimulated in her life and fulfilled at the end of it. I wonder how he knew this if he never met her. Is that the next best thing to being an artist? I ask him. I think so, he says. Maybe it's better. I usually awake around 8, when the mountains look heavenly blue and it's still too cold to go outside. I sit at the table and read books and drink a pot of coffee. The casita has all kinds of bound-up old treasures from Helene's personal collection: fiction, history, philosophy, art. I read a lot. There's no time in real life to read books all in one sitting, and books are better all in one sitting. Later, it reminds you of a specific day, a specific worry or joy. The days are blending together. I go across the street around 11 to work with Nick in the study. Sometimes Mitch, an older man who's been the groundskeeper for years, is sitting on the sofa. He has a thick southern accent and 2 teeth that clank when he speaks, and he says things like, "It's mighty fine out there this mornin'," and, "Well, I've got to get steppin'." Mitch loves to tell stories. I used to be smart as a whip. Then one day, some fella comes into the store, shoots me 9 times. 4 in the chest, 1 in the neck, 4 in the head. Was in a coma for weeks, still can't believe I'm alive. Now I'm stupid as hell, but I'm still alive, and I'm having a blast. On days when Mitch isn't there, I spend most of the day in the German room of Helene's house going through old books that need to be sewn up and paintings that could be taken out of closets and displayed. Sometimes I come across little notes Helene left herself in the pages, or letters she sent to her friends. Yours forever and ever, Helene. I start to know her too. What are you doing? It's late on Friday, and I'm on the phone with my friend Rachel. She goes to school in Manhattan. She's yelling over disco music and very drunk. I'm taking a bath. I swirl my finger around in bath foam. You're taking a bath? Yes, I'm taking a bath. Why don't you go out? There's nothing here, just small town bars with old men. I'd rather stay home. How's your writing? It's better. It's going to be a cowboy romance, like Jane Eyre, but a Western. That sounds weird. I mean, cool. Send me what you have and I'll read it, she yells. No, you won't, she laughs. I haven't talked to you in ages. I'm sorry. I'm so busy. It's awful. I don't have time to do anything. What do you do there? Have you met anyone? No, I'm in the middle of nowhere. All I do is sit around at home. There's no one here, but I don't want to meet anyone. It's great. That sounds amazing, she says distractedly. Yeah. How are you going to write a cowboy romance if you don't meet any cowboys? She asks. It's fiction. She must have stepped outside because the background has gone quiet. Aren't you lonely, all the way up on a mountain on the other side of the country? Lonely? No. I mean, I know it's warm and beautiful and everyone needs some isolation and everything, but I'd still be sad. Sad and lonely are different, I say. There's a loud sound and the call disconnects. I miss shopping more than people. One afternoon, I take a walk to the thrift store. It takes almost an hour to get there in heeled boots. The land is, what else, dry and red. Dust swirls up when a crow lands, then settles around it. I wonder what it's come to pick up from the ground. There can't be much down here. It's a dry cavern in the big earth. I'm an ant. Grass grows in dry beige clumps. Beyond the ground where I walk the sidewalk like a tightrope between two barren fields, the white mountains tower. I start the walk in a coat, but soon I take my tights off from under my skirt. The heat of the steady sun seeps in slowly until my shirt is wet under my arms and shoulder blades. My face drips with hot sweat. If I have a sudden misfortune on this walk, no one would know. If I screamed, no one would hear. A hawk could swoop down and pick me up and carry me off. I only see a few people when I pass an abandoned gas station that seems now to be a junkyard and a skate park at once. Young boys are jumping off heaps of hot tire rubber and paper trash and yelling to one another in Spanish. I wonder if their parents know where they are. Mine don't. At the thrift store, the gems of Southwestern past captivate me. Sequined and bedazzled denim jackets, tall embroidered boots, velvet dresses, fur coats, and leather chaps. I find one thing I almost cannot leave without. It's a mid-length suede jacket that falls to the hem of my skirt, with shiny silver buttons and a sharp collar, worn down to dusty blue with age. A woman turning over hangers at the next rack turns to me. "It's made for you," she says. I turn and examine myself. Eventually, with pain, I leave the jacket on the return rack and begin my hike back. I stay in Taos for 2 more months. I don't write nearly as much as I read. A few months later, as if the cosmos know it's a lost cause, my laptop dies and I lose my novel. On my last day, I leave. I drag my suitcase on the road, now covered in snow and not dirt. "Don't forget, you can always come back," Nick says sincerely. I appreciate it, but I never will. Not because I don't like it. It just won't exist, and soon after, it doesn't. Home, it takes me a while to get used to life again. I dance at parties, but I dream of my casita, tiny and dark, a warm shelter from the cold nights. Those nights were so empty. Outside, the only sound was barking dogs in the distance. I could have sworn the mountains were paintings. If the wind picked up, they would waver and eventually fall down. Thank you. Thank you. So that's my fiction piece, and I mean, it really happened, but Robyn and I were talking about like prose style, so that's an example of that for me. And then I have a very short example of a different kind of writing that I've been doing more recently, which is kind of like a free writing, and this is also edited, but it came out of a free writing session, so it's a bit nonsense. Her Moses bones were quaking and jerking. Moss crawled up inside her marrow and grew from the inside out, the flay of decay. A ship with a hearty belly had a dark bar where they served croutons and juice for square coins. The first time I saw the hood, I cowered in the asbestos nook like a teamy, crooky crustacean. I couldn't face the idea of my imaginary dream wife's disappointment, a blue-gray dove of sadness under black trees at night. One by one, my thoughts parade without me catching them or seeing anything. Christopher would be better at this. A library is a better place where I belong, both smelling deeply like something used to be here, and it's coming back. Good old dragons thump wantonly, shimmery discs of skeletal brittle structure like spiny wheels, as they turn over building top spires, window peaks, lackadaisical monotony, buildings that should be trees and trees that should be bigger. Windy little corridors of row homes, like gnome hovels in the oldest moleholes in the city, lit by bobbing streetlights still hanging from older cords. Who fixes the things that were made before we were born? The hood is green, flaxen, waxy, and wired like the mouth of a cavern. The nose of the figure the only rock light touches from the outside. Huffy tendrils emit from its underside, smelly hot and stale and old together, tobacco from a pipe for some reason. And the breath is hot, too, and too wet when he speaks, whacking a knobby stick on the ground and rattling the glass and goblets. All the heads in the room turn towards the point of his stance, and then the bug in the corner turns too. No message. He meanders towards the bar in order to order something soapy and foamy, whipped relish with rum, which is meant to give you the strength to live through another night, but steals your far vision. This hood has been on a journey. His knees in saggy, coarse pants are brushed with sand from somewhere else, his elbows covered in viscous, paraffinic marine grease. Maybe he drinks it too, sailor turpentine like my father, whose lung fell out his right hip. I do see some ring around his mouth zone. His shoulders are up like haunches to hide the activity before him. But without seeing, I know it's a keydex, a series of interlocking keys and coins, which collected and correctly ordered fastened together to make a box. A little flag is released. One could go forever chasing these things, but who's ever heard of anyone completing one or not dying with a jumble of little gold trinkets in his hand? Lady Fair is eyeing him with ribbons in her eyes, of course. She's full of bees and busts and business. I remember seeing her with a loon on a March day. I think she studied with a group of men in interconnected powder blue robes, who sit in an alcove by the water and sing a song that's too sad to know. Orphans are full of secrets that see you before you see them, and poor children know about corn. The barkeep pulls another wooden bowl from the sushi bar cubby shelf to fill with bubbly brew for the mister in question, and he knows the lady too. Thank you. Thanks. Should I say anything else? Here's Robyn.
Can we please get another round of applause for Eva? Wow, thank you so much. I have so many thoughts about your reading. I love that you chose both of those together because they really did show two different poles in your creative vision. It's so interesting because I kept thinking back to that one moment in our podcast when you were talking about having fun with your writing, and I was like, okay, but what do you mean by fun? Because I was like, we all have fun when we're writing. I mean, I'd hope so, but you were talking about the nonsense of it, and I felt that come through so much in the second one, but you also related it to humor, and I felt like the first one was so much funnier, just because it was so real and because you could feel these characters and you could feel everything that you were experiencing through them, and just also I feel like the most important connection in that one was between you and your friend living in Manhattan, and that was just so palpable for me, as just being someone who I feel like we all are like, oh well, I'd love to just live alone in the desert for an extended period of time, but then life pulls us in other directions. But it's it really felt like that, the two sides of our brains kind of talking to each other. At least that's how I saw it, and I was just like, this is so brilliant. I've never seen it put in such a way. So thank you so much. Those were so lovely, and I want to go to that thrift store so bad. What do they say? You can never take back a, it's not coming to me, but it's something about you'll always regret something that you didn't buy, right? And I feel that every day of my life. So I'm glad that it still follows you like a shadow. So thank you, Eva. That was so lovely. And now we're going to switch over to our open mic list. And first up is Andrew Phillips. Welcome.
We're not close anymore like we used to be. We're different people now, definitely. We've had some good days, but we both gone our ways. We're not close anymore like we used to be. We're not young anymore like we used to be. We've grown up, got jobs, responsibilities, and when I see you occasionally, we're not close anymore like we used to be. We're not close anymore like we used to be. I can't tell who's changed, whether it's you or it's me. But we can try to get back on our feet. We won't be close like we used to be. We're not close anymore like we used to be. I can't pull you up if you've gone in too deep. Though I still care about the life that you lead, we're not close anymore like we used to be. We're not close anymore like we used to be. I can't tell who's changed, whether it's you or it's me. Though we can try to get back on our feet, we won't be close like we used to be. No, we won't be close like we used to be. Thank you. Okay, I got one more song I'm gonna play for you guys tonight. This one is one I've been playing for a little bit now. It's just a song about being a good person, I guess. It's called When It's Over. I've lived a normal life. I've made a few close friends. I've seen many promises come to their end. I've said a lot of words I shouldn't have said. And the older I become, the more I forget. But I remember those mistakes more than the times I did what I was supposed to do. Instead, between the lines, I like to get things right on the first try and be free from judgment, even if that's real life. Whoa. I won't talk behind your back, at least that's what I say. But if you catch me right, I might let it slip any given day. So you gotta tread lightly, stay in your half, smile when you make eye contact, borrow something, give it back early. Find a love, then relax, say I do and hope it lasts. Everything forever and eternity. And always think about how the life that you have now will be remembered when you're older. And if you'll be happy when it's over. So you gotta live in the moments while they last. Understand that time will pass. Not everything will forever be the same. Don't cry when you're supposed to laugh. Tell your friends you got their backs. Be good to others you may never see again. And always think about how the life that you have now will be remembered when you're older. And if you'll be happy when it's over. When it's over. When it's over. When it's over. Thank you.
Wow. Thanks, Andrew. Another round of applause for this first-time attendee. Thank you so much for coming and driving up the thruway. My heart is with Beacon. It's such a beautiful place. Truly is. I used to literally live right there, so I'm just very partial. Yeah, thank you so much for coming. I hope you guys can make it up again. Next up is Philip. Welcome to the stage.
I'm Philip. New Year's Day this year, like the 23rd in a row, there's a reading series. Robyn would be there. Maybe she still will be. We'll know. Tristan might have been there, but he's going to be in London. But it's going to be everybody. Zelda, do you have a gig there? Are you? I'm going to be there. Zelda will be there. There's about 120 people, each doing 3 minutes at the Saugerties Reformed Church. I'll stream it to Facebook, at the Woodstock Poetry Society Facebook page. And, yeah. And so they collect donations, food, things, and stuff like that. And it goes from 1 to 7. I'm hosting the first hour and the last hour. There's other hosts. And so I'm planning to read this there. So this is just a rehearsal for that. This isn't a real reading. I have seen the new words. I have seen the new words, and they are fat and round, but have delicate fingers, fingers that skim the colors from the edge of things and place them on our tongues like petals. And while they take what they need, they give it back just as freely. And in this passing, a song is made. And it is a song that does not sing the same but sings instead something new. It sings new deals, deals we can trust and take to a nicer bank and walk away with millions. And this money does not tie you down, but floats like balloons with no strings attached. And while we see them up above, we feel them down below, along our mouth and tongue, and they caress like gentle fingers and slip between our lips like feathers and brush our cheeks to pink and grins of younger times, for these words make us young again. And I have seen the new words, and they glide like ships along the water with nets that do not gather fish, but rather bubbles that rise to rainbows above our heads. And in these bubbles, we can see that every color has every color, that red carries blue, black, and white, while green and yellow dance a tango with toes that tap upon our heads like rain upon the roofs. And these new words dip below the surface, too, for these words are agile and quick, and come and go in every direction and say everything at once from every different angle. And by this, 10,000 ways are made for saying that what it is to love you, and so are made 10,000 more for you to tell me back. And there is no longer need for others. For every one of these says love's just right. And what else is there for us to say? And I have seen the new words, and these words are joined with the wind sliding down the hill and are in the whistle of the birds at morning, and these words have slipped into the stream beside the rock and are in and in between every breath we take. And these words are alive in the moan that falls upon your shoulders when stillness comes to motion, and in the sigh of resting fully when motion comes to still. And they shout without yelling as they simply tell the truth in a place between what is said and what is meant, for now the two are one. And I have seen the new words, and now there is no use for all the old ones, for these new words have light and air and earth and water, and all the love is to keep us living, and they have the hand in hand of young and old, and have the bubble of the infant's laughter, and the whisper in a lover's ear, and the silence of the monk in prayer, and the soothing stream of mother's milk, and the eager sipping of it, and the chin of giggle, and the lips of saying, yes, I do, yes, I will, and the arms of doing, and the hands of giving, and all the rest of all the best. And I have seen the new words, and I see them on your lips. That's new words. I don't know if I did that very well. So January 1st. I like the idea of P impromptu, me being P, and relying on you to some extent for impromptu. Like, some people like hecklers. I'm one of them. I like hecklers. A little heckle? No heckle? Yeah, there. Thank you, young lady. No, thanks so much. I'm Philip. Maybe I'll see you January 1. This Saturday, the Woodstock Poetry Society, we do have an open mic. We even bend the no melody rule, so you could come, Andrew. And Robyn and Tristan. Tristan was a feature. We'll be at the new library in Woodstock, 10 Dixon Place. Okay, bye-bye.
Well, first, before I say next up, I wanna say something too. I am a curator for the Hudson Valley spoken word extravaganza on New Year's Day, and the one he just talked about, I do curate for that. And I asked, I can't even tell you how many people to read there this year, and I have done for the past 3 years, I think. So if any of you are around New Year's Day,
We leave some slots free.
yeah, there is an open mic aspect, but there are, I think, around 100 performers this year, probably more. There's usually around 120. It's at the Saugerties Reformed Church in Saugerties, hosted by Bruce Weber, who is also going to be at the Woodstock Poetry Society this Saturday. How amazing. And Bruce is a wonderful champion of poets and poetry at large in the Hudson Valley, and, you know, whatever is beyond this Hudson Valley, I guess. So all of that to say, it's a wonderful event. So many local people represented, and highly recommend that you make it out. But without further ado, please welcome to the stage Zelda.
So my name is Zelda, AKA Judith Z. Miller. So I took on Zelda about, 15 years ago or so. It's my middle name. But my given name is Judith, and when I was growing up, I was Judy. So that's one thing you have to know about the story I'm about to tell you, that my name is Judy. And that the story takes place in 1961. It begins in 1961, and I always tell true stories. So this story is entitled, Thank You, Mr. Rosamelia. My name is Judy Miller. I live at 11 Quarter Avenue in Maplewood, New Jersey, and I can't read. I don't know. I look at the page, and the words just move around. Kids like me, we're just dumb. And all the other kids are so mean. They make fun of me, and they call me stupid more times than I can count, which I admit isn't very high. A group of the popular girls grab one of my stupid kids' book, and they grab it and they fling it over my head, and I'm forced to play monkey in the middle while they call me names and mock the obvious stupidity. I'm not normal. I'm sitting in a reading group, and we're going around in a circle, and it's coming towards me, and it's my turn. And I start to feel dizzy, nauseous. And I'm holding the book, and I'm looking at the page, and I can see the words, but I can't make them come out of my mouth, and I throw up all over myself. And my teacher, she sends me to the nurse's office, and she takes off my vomit-covered blouse and my vomit-covered skirt, and I'm standing there in my underpants and my undershirt, and the door is open. And the other kids are walking by, staring. My mom, she tries to help me out. She shows me those domino things. They're called flashcards. They look like dominoes, and they have dots on them, And she, every day, every single day, while the kids are out, other kids are outside playing, she shows me the flashcards, like a bazillion times. And no matter how many bazillion times she showed it to me, I can't remember the answers. I throw up on my way to school almost every single day. But I'm also a crossing guard. Yeah. And I love that white sash with the silver, shiny metal, like a sheriff. And I get to tell the other kids what to do. This one kid who always makes fun of me tries to cross without my permission, and I grab his arm and I twist it, and I do this like fancy judo move, and I spin around, and he's on his knees crying, pleading for mercy. And I relish in his agony. They call us all into the auditorium, and we're all in seats, the whole school, hundreds of kids. And they call you up front by name, section by section. And when they call your name, you got to go stand there, turn around, and look at everybody else. Call them the troublemakers. Call them the dumb kids. They're calling the kids of color who have parents don't have any money to send them tutors. And they call my name. So I go stand up in front of everybody and, oh God, I wish the ground would swallow me up whole. In 5th grade, this kid named Guy sits behind me, relentlessly pulling my ponytail. My teacher, Mr. Rosamelia, is momentarily out of the classroom. Guy grabs my ponytail and gives it this huge yank, and I stand up and I was like, stop pulling my hair. And Guy takes his fist and he shoves it up into my, and he runs, lickety-split, out of the classroom. And I, despite my pain and panic, like a wild child, my ferocity kicks in, and I grab the edges of the desk in front of me, and I fling them to opposite sides of the classroom, and I run out the classroom door, and bam! Smack dab into the formidable belly of my over 6 foot tall teacher, Mr. Rosamelia. Mr. Rosamelia, who sees me, hair flying, screaming, and the disastrous effects of the classroom, makes me stay after school. I'm sitting in front of his big wooden desk, looking at a pile of books that I have not and probably never will read. Physical proof that I will never accomplish anything ever. The books are color-coded. They start from the yellow to the orange, to the green, to the blue, to the red, to the purple book. I'm still on yellow, struggling. The rest of the class is breezing through the purple book. It's like they look at the page and the words just go like this, and they do this magical osmosis thing, and then they flow like a river out of their mouths. Slumped down in my chair, knowing that I will never accomplish anything ever. Mr. Rosamelia stands very solemnly, and he picks up the pile of books, and he holds them aloft over his head. And with one grand gesture, he takes the books and he flings them into the metal wastebasket next to his desk. There, you've read them all. And he picks up the purple book and he thrusts it towards me. Here, read this. And you know, as those books came clamoring down, shattering into the metal, my hopelessness, my stupidity came down with them. And like a miracle, like a miracle, I could read the purple book. Now, of course, I still struggled. I still had a hard time. But because my teacher, Mr. Rosamilia, had faith in me, I had faith in myself. Okay, all right, so 60-something, who knows, years later, I still do not know my multiplication tables, past 5. However, I do see the flashcards, the dominoes floating in the air, and if I have to calculate something, I see them floating and I count them, so I get by. And thanks to computers and spell check and, oh my God, my beloved GPS, who I'll admit, I almost asked to marry. I get along just fine, and I'm a published author, and I have my own solo show, and okay, so one day you may find me at Hannaford's looking at a handwritten shopping list, standing there in the middle of the aisle, cursing under my breath. Why the fuck did you not write the list? Type it. What is it I'm supposed to buy? What? The words are like in a circle, and some of them are in the middle, and there are like some of the letters are backwards. I'm like, what am I supposed to buy? Wait. Oh, bananas! I find out that what I have is called dyslexia, something that they never heard of in the 1950s and 60s. So now, when I can't navigate my way home 5 minutes from Hannaford, I don't demean myself. The voices of those kids, they don't haunt me anymore because of Mr. Rosamilia. Hey, you know, on National Teachers Day every year, I think about Mr. Rosamilia. And I just want to say, hey, Mr. Rosamilia, this is a shout out to you if you're still alive. But okay, wait, he's probably not still alive. So Mr. Rosamilia, I know if there is a heaven, yes, I know you are there because of that one grand gesture that showed your faith in me. Bam! In 1963. Thank you, Mr. Rosamilia. You changed and saved my life. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here in front of a live audience. It's always a thrill for me to perform. Oops, oh my God, okay, next time I will remember to do that. Because I'm Jewish, and you know, it's in the DNA. Okay, so I just wanted to say that if you are interested in my work, you can find me both on Facebook and Instagram as @Artist Soul, SOUL, Speaks. Artist Soul Speaks. And I have a one-person show which you can watch 24/7 for free on Hudson, HUDSY.TV. It's not TV, it's online. It's a free membership. And my show is called Que Sera Sera, A Life's Journey of Sexual Orientation and Gender Expression. And it's a very personal show, and a lot of people have told me that they find it profoundly moving. So I hope you'll check it out, and it's free. So thank you again. I'm Zelda, a.k.a. Judith
That
Z.
was that may have been my favorite one of yours so far. I feel like that really encapsulated so much about you and your life. And I mean, you emailed me a few days ago saying you were hesitant about performing it, but it's so spot on, really incredible. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
I think it was really interesting for me to share that story in a group of writers.
Yeah.
You know, like
Mhm.
I meant to. I was thinking about that before I went on. That it's such a different experience. People who are sort of naturally literate, drawn to spoken word, drawn to be able to, all of this.
Yeah.
My experience is like so the opposite, but
Right.
so I thought it would be interesting.
It was amazing, and it's so interesting because our initial connection was through email correspondences, so I've only known you through your writing in a sense, which is so interesting to learn that about you. And yeah, so beautiful, and thank you for sharing with us. Next up is Mia. Welcome.
So, all right. So this one's called The Lonely Winter. Winter melts my heart, the icy snow rattles my window, and I want someone to hold on these ruined roads. I still feel the memory as if it burned alive in me. Even if the sun was still asleep, it once kept me warm. Now I only taste the bitterness of its ash as it sticks to my tongue. When it is night, I revisit an old love, like a cave dweller trying to rub sticks while the blizzard rains, wishing for a silent day when once again you wanted to hide away with me. Like a Greek, I love how the shadows move, even if the candle is a false god. Time melts like snow, and spring is only built on the tears of winter. All that keeps me warm are my frigid sighs while hours pass. I look up to pray to God, and only the moon look down. Promise you will see me again, and I will repent like a saint in the old age to see the sun rise in your eyes and that gentle smile caress the mountains, turn a blank field into one of dandelions, abundant with wishes. I whispered to you last night and every night, but only the moon looked down, and only the wind answered me, a type of wind who could not speak. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mia. Me and Mia work together, and it's always so wonderful to hear her writing outside of our extremely formal job. We're both journalists. And yeah, that was so lovely, and you're so incredible, and your outfit is extremely cute. So I can't believe you walked all the way here in that. I really commend you for that. It's a feat. For sure. Next up is Tristan. Welcome.
Buses on Kentish Town Road. Two double-decker buses rushing in opposite directions down Kentish Town Road suddenly came to a stop next to each other. A hand emerged from each driver's side window, and the one heading south decanted a tube of Smarties into the one heading north. Then they continued on their way, and the snaking traffic that built up behind them began to ease. The world of objects. Valacyclovir 500 milligrams, jute rug, stick gum, sock, hat, bag. Silence, the book. Haven't read. Drug paraphernalia. Just a toile, a taxidermy, snapping to and fading out. Only a chattering fork in a bowl, remembering the tines, yesterday's rice dinner, the paleness of big light, the great pile of avoidance, and then, of course, the yellowing pillow next to the pipes, icons of men's style, and relics from the special things box, the world of objects. Another dull night in the Cathedral of Segments, aux cord, lightning cable, USB-C 9V, sock, dust, doubt. Thanks. And I got one more. Never read this. I kind of just want to see how it lands. Okay. It's called Cocksure Gun Shy. Cocksure Gun Shy. Cockshy Gun Shore. Shy gun, shore cock, shy cock, shore shy, shore gun, shy shore, gun cock, cock gun. Cockshaw, gun shy, gun shore, shy gun, shore cock, shy cock, shore shy, shore gun, shy shore, gun cock gun, cock shore, gun shy, gun shore, shy gun, shore cock, shore shy, shore gun, shy shore, gun cock gun, cock shore, gun shy. Thank you.
That felt very like we were being berated right there. Yeah. Just like threw it at us in the best way. So thank you for that. What a performance. Yeah, I used to actually do a lot of weird poetic experiments like that where I would take like the beginning, like the first letter of a word, and I would make a whole poem just alliterating that word or that letter. And those are so fun to do. The faster you say it, the more fun it is. Well, on that note, it's my turn. I have a few poems. I don't know how many of these I'm gonna read. Well, this first one is called Scalps, or a South Jersey accent. I'm not going to say anything about it because I think it really speaks for itself. Scalps. I went outside for a cigarette. An older man gave me one, a situation I could have guessed given a blindfold and sealed lips. He gave me a Marlboro Red, and I nearly moaned in ecstasy. We spoke a bit. He said he works on a boat catching fish. I said, "Oh, so you're a fishmonger." He said, "What?" I said, "What do you mean, what?" He said, "I've never heard of that before." I said, "You've never heard of a fishmonger before, and you've been a fisherman for 30 years? He said, "Yeah, is it an internet thing?" I said, "No, it's a career thing." Then he told me he began his career catching scalps, and specifically that he was a scalper, a man who did scalping. I said, "You have to be kidding me, you're a scalper?" He said, "Yeah, what do you think I mean?" I said, "Well, I think you mean somebody who severs the flesh off somebody's scalp, commonly committed during ye old Western days." And he said, "Oh, no," laughing. And I said, "Okay, well, explain to me what scalping is then." He said, "You've never had a scalp before?" I said, "No, I've never even heard of such a thing. It seems pretty niche." He said, "Niche?" I said, "Oh, God." "What's niche?" He said, "Niche, like particular, like something very specific." He said, "Oh, okay." "So what's scalping?" I repeated. He explained it to me, and I still had no idea. He said it was a shellfish, and it was extremely laborious. He even went as far as to call it his own purgatory. I said, "Do you mean scalping was your way to repent?" But I'm not sure that clicked with him because he just moved on. And he was tipsy and I was too, and I was feeling frisky, so I asked for another cigarette. He explained to me when I asked yet again that it's a shellfish that's hard to manage. "I'll buy you some," he said. "I'll buy you them so you can try them." I said, "That's okay." But my sister, standing next to me the whole time, said, "Do you mean scallops?" I said, "Wait, hold on now." Then I asked him to spell it. SCALLOPS. He said, "God damn it," I responded. "God fucking damn it." Thanks. That's a true story. When I was in South Jersey for Thanksgiving, met a scalper for the first time. Okay, so this next one is called Real Forever. Did you know it's Mickey Mouse Day? The day of his conception or inception, you know what I mean. Who is his mother? I don't care about his father, I want to know who his mother is. Who is Mickey Mouse's mother, or was he born out of an egg like Helen of Troy? Or was he just always there? Always whistling on that steamboat, tapping his foot and puffing those mousy cheeks in and out, protecting his mini from the big bad guy who was perfectly irrelevant in the oeuvre. I remember being obsessed with the Mickey Mouse Haunted House episode when I was a kid. It was as near as I could get to something that matched my inner dark aesthetic while staying kid-friendly. Little did I know the video I had been watching on repeat was just clips from the episode spliced and diced to match the soundtrack, which was Thriller by Michael Jackson. My memory of this is watching it in the dark in my bedroom, probably for the 100th time while my family was downstairs doing something I clearly thought was unimportant. My door was open, but my room was completely dark, save the glow of my computer light on my prepubescent face. My uncle walked upstairs, and he thought he caught me. He said, "I know what you're doing." And I said, "What do you mean? I'm just watching Mickey Mouse Haunted House spliced over Michael Jackson's Thriller." And he scoffed and said, "I know what you're doing." And it sounded so accusatory, but I couldn't even imagine what he meant. I was so innocent. In my mind, sitting in the dark on my computer was what he meant when he insinuated I was being naughty, and I held that to me for years after. I suppose you could say it never went away. Now, my uncle is a widower and an alcoholic. He hides various different sweets and cookies under and behind and in between the couch whenever he comes over, because I suppose he's more ashamed about the sweets than the alcohol. I wouldn't necessarily say the tides have turned, but I will say this. Happy birthday to that dumb fucking mouse. I wish I never grew up. I wish I could be a real boy. Real forever. Thanks. Thanks. I think I'm going to skip this one. Okay, this last one I wrote quite recently, and it's called If I Had a Bulldozer. If I had a bulldozer, I would parade around these streets, knocking down mailboxes and plowing into hedges, watching people's faces as they gasp in horror. Not my mailbox, they'd say, not my hedge. I'd have no sympathy, not an ounce of it. If I had a bulldozer, I would wear a mask and loose-fitting, dark-colored clothes, and all would think me a man plundering and parading down these streets, causing havoc wherever I see fit. They'd put up signs that say, "In search of vigilante destroying town with bulldozer," and in the center would be a grainy image of me atop my steed, face masked and eyes covered in clothes baggy and discolored. Underneath my image would read, "Anyone who possesses any information on this criminal, please report to your local neighborhood watch team immediately." I find the whole thing funny, thinking, these fools think they're looking for a man off his meds. Little do they know they're looking for a woman off her meds. I'd laugh a menacing laugh and rev my engine as I moved at 10 miles per hour down the streets, hoping all the cops' wives dope them up, or they caught a nasty case of the bug, the one that eats you alive. The Scottish punk band The Exploited once said, "Destruction, chaos, anarchy. Now that's fun." In 2020, they released a statement during the COVID outbreak with lead singer Waddy Buchan saying, "Fuck coronavirus. I've had 5 heart attacks, a quadruple heart bypass, and a heart pacemaker fitted. Cancel gigs for a virus? We ain't fucking Green Day piss. We are the real deal." At 63, Waddy was still mumbling, "Fuck the system," in his sleep. So take a piece of his rage and tell your boss to shove it. Leave work 5 minutes early, slamming the door shut on your way out, and speed down the thruway, weaving through the lanes like your life counted on it, like your goddamn life counted on it. And after all that was done and you're properly sated, your heart back to a rhythmic, dull thump, pick up a book of poetry, drink a warm cup of tea, and remember that all chaos can only be temporary. A bulldozer will never tuck you into bed at night. A bulldozer is only a bulldozer. It will never read you lullabies and kiss you goodnight after a long day at work. It is only a bulldozer, and yet we expect it to fix everything by paving the world anew. We expect so much from these machines when they are only metal and wire. That's all they are. A life in our hands, and it's only metal and wire. But if I had a bulldozer, I would probably say at some point, this world ain't big enough for the both of us, and I'd kiss that puppy goodbye. I get a crane, a lift, or some other useless piece of machinery and would decide not to use it because at that point all the destruction would have lost its joy and I wouldn't get a kick out of seeing the horror plastered on their faces anymore. It'd no longer do it for me. It'd be sad and pathetic and a product of their unquenchable need for normalcy. I'd go to sleep at night wishing all of those cloistered wives and repressed husbands who own houses on roads called Lookout Ave and Rearview Street would buy a fucking bulldozer and enjoy life a little bit. Or steal the bulldozer and just plain destroy it. Steal it and bring it to a scrapyard and watch as those big, big machines absolutely demolish it. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, I want a bulldozer. So yeah, that's all she wrote. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Eva, again. This has been so fun on this snowy, slushy night in Kingston. What a privilege to have all you here. And David, of course, as always, thank you so much for the cookies and the wine. That was such a wonderful Christmas gift. We're not going to be back until February. We're taking a little hiatus actually because Greenkill's going on a vacation, and you know what? I am too. I'm saying it, manifesting it right now. I'm going on a fucking vacation. Whether that means a staycation or a whatever vacation. So thank you all so much for a wonderful 2025. This has been my favorite year of White Noise yet, by far. We started the podcast this year. We have featured poets, writers, musicians every month this year. And I am so excited for what 2026 holds. It all is a blur to me right now. I have no idea what my plan is. Absolutely none. But we'll figure it out. And in the meantime, I hope you all have a happy holiday. Drive safely. And with that, White Noise signing off.